Although Jim Harbaugh has had success in other universities and as an NFL star quarterback and Super Bowl coach, he is always embraced here in Michigan as maize and blue through and through. He now coaches the team he once led to huge success as a player in the 1980s. As he prepares for the big showdown next week with Michigan State, please welcome from Ann Arbor, the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, Jim Harbaugh.
There he is. Jim, you got a full house here at the Detroit Opera House cheering for you, so you got a lot of support down here in Detroit.
No, I'm really enjoying watching and listening to it.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time. I know that this is a busy time, and I want you to know, Jim told me right from the start when I asked if he could participate, he looked at his calendar and he said, Michigan State week? He said, is there any way you could do it remotely? And I said, sure, you know, we're happy to have you at all. So right now, I'm sure, like he just ran in from a meeting room, and as soon as he's done, he's running off to the film room. Are you basically, did you start, you know, like 5 minutes after the Wisconsin game ended?
Well, not really. I mean, I took some time to enjoy the game. My wife Sarah and I, and she had her brothers were in town. My daughter Addie came to the game, so yeah, about 3 or 4 hours after the game. And then knowing who we're playing this week, it didn't last as long as it usually does. But did enjoy the win. I thought our guys really played well, and very proud of them. But it's state week now, so we're in deep into preparations for the Spartans.
Yeah. By the way, I just checked. I think you guys just scored again against Wisconsin. It's now 48. That was a hell of a win, actually. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Everybody here says the same. Yeah.
It was a good day in Ann Arbor. It was just one of those nice fall days in Ann Arbor, and you could see everybody was out and everybody was at the game like they always are. You know, it seems like they pack all of Ann Arbor into the big house. Night game, the lights were on, and the team played really well. We were really inspired and thought we played one of our better games.
You did. You know, you and I go back literally to when you played quarterback for the University of Michigan. You were one of the first quarterbacks I covered, maybe the first. And so people have always asked me about you because they know I've known you a long time. And they say, well, what's Jim Harbaugh like now? And I said, he's exactly the same guy he was when he was in the locker room. For some reason, I don't know, 30 years later, I somehow remember coming to interview you and you got excited about something and your eyes got really big and you said, I'm so jacked! And minus the word, you're pretty much the same guy now, aren't you?
Yeah, and I remember that so vividly too, Mitch. I mean, I think it was one of the first ever like in-depth interviews I ever did as a 19 or 20-year-old with you, and kind of where you go to lunch, you go to the dorm room, you kind of follow around, and that was the first one I ever did. I don't know, it was a big thrill. And so, yeah, we go way back.
Yeah, I remember, I think that was part of the longest story I ever wrote for the Free Press, or at least until I wrote a piece about our little girl Chica. But prior to that, I think it was the longest story I ever wrote, and it was about you and Bo Schembechler. And I asked you and him the same questions and got totally different answers.
Yeah, I remember.
You know, you had a totally different recollection of it from you being a little kid who ran on the field, and because your dad was on the staff, and Bo screamed at you, and Bo would say, "Hey, he was a pain in the neck," and you would say, "I was so happy that he screamed at me. I just thought it was so great that he screamed at me." And yeah, I think that was the piece. But your relationship with Bo was really, we just put up a picture of him doing exactly that. But your relationship with him was, to me, the quintessential sort of old-fashioned coach and quarterback type of relationship where there's screaming and there's head-butting, but in the end, you wouldn't be anywhere else, and he wouldn't have anybody else for his quarterback.
Well, it was an amazing thing because I grew up. My dad was a coach at Michigan, We first moved here in 1973, and Bo Schembechler was a living legend. Also, he was providing my dad a job. You know, we had food, we had a roof over our head. You know, we had this great place to go and watch football practices. We loved sports. We could lift in the weight room. And Bo Schembechler, anytime you want to catch his attention too much and do anything wrong, you're always trying to be on your best behavior, because our dad Jack would tell us, be on your best behavior. Schembechler is going to be here. So, but for him to notice you, and he did. He noticed everything, and he'd always have a word for you, and that was special. And then get to the point where he offered a scholarship to play at Michigan. That was one of those most signature days of my life. Then to actually get to play for him, and then be his quarterback, that was so special. And he's just a truly great man. But I caddied Coach Schembechler one time. He was in a foursome with Gerald Ford, president, and I asked Coach if I was 10. I asked him if I could caddy, and he said, "Sure, kid. You can do that." And I was really bad at it. Carrying the bag on the team, walking through the president's line, but Bo was great. He allowed things like that. He made life really special and fun.
So you were a 10-year-old caddy for the former president and Bo Schembechler?
That happened. Happened. I was 10 or 11 years old, and they played at the University of Michigan course, and I remember the Secret Service had machine guns, turned into trees. There were machine guns in bags. It was, and Bo had a big bag, and I was only like 10 or 11.
Drag that bag. Come on, Jim.
Oh, just the memories are really thick when it comes to Coach Schembechler.
Well, we've been talking tonight about people who affect you in your life, even briefly, and change the course of your life forever. I don't know if Bo is that person for you or someone else, but if you had to point to somebody, who would that be for you?
Well, like Sophia said, and Tim said, and Sam said, there's really so many. Whether grandparents, all my grandparents affected my life. I was really lucky enough to know all my grandparents, and my mom and my dad, coaches that I had, Coach Schembechler, teachers from 5th grade, Mrs. Hiller, priests, clergymen, John Ricardo. There's so many people along, that you could really, really point to that have changed my life. If I had to narrow it down to one, I would say my brother John. So we shared the same room for 16 years until he went off to college, ate the same food, but he always he would bring me along. Hey, can my brother play? And then get a job. He got a job one time. Hey, John, can I work with you too? It was a construction job where we were hauling away things in a wheelbarrow. And, I'll ask him for you. Hey, can my brother work the summer job too? And got me on teams. I'd play with his friends. They're going in high school. Sometimes they go to Wendy's, at lunch. Hey, can I come, John? Hey, can my brother come? Yeah, he can come. There's just so many times I would ask him things along the way in sports, or things I couldn't even ask my mom or dad. I would ask my brother John. He would tell me. He would tell me what to do, what not to do. Even into coaching. John, what do you do? What do you do about this? And he's been my role model my entire life, and somebody that has always loved me and helped me and knocked down hurdles, and even spiritually, that Jesus should be my Lord and Savior. Things that life-changing in so many ways.
Sounds like it must have been. Sounds like it must have been very hard for you then to coach against him in a Super Bowl. I can't. Can I come along? Can I tag along? Can I win the Super Bowl?
Hey, the Ravens made the Super Bowl. Can my brother coach the other team?
Yeah. The one time you go to a Super Bowl, you got to look across the field and see a guy who looks like you, right?
Yeah, I've been, and of course, he won that game, and I just love my brother. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. He deserves every good thing. He's a true leader, and really proud of him as a brother.
Yeah. Well, I want to say before we let Jim go that Jim has a heart not only for the kids in Detroit, obviously he recruits here and all the rest of it, who we're supporting tonight, but for Haiti as well. And about a year ago, we were at a function for DIPG. Chad Carr, you remember, most of you know, Lloyd Carr's grandson died of this terrible brain tumor that we're trying to eradicate. And Jim and I happened to be seated right near one another. And I said to him, he was asking about Haiti, and I go every month to the orphanage that we operate in Haiti. And he said, when are you going next? I said, tomorrow. He said, what time? I said, like 8 in the morning. And he goes, let's do it. Let's go. I'll go. And for like 10 minutes, he was coming with me the next morning. And then we realized that it was Sunday and the next day was Mother's Day. And his wife was sitting right next to him, and I think their kids were there too. And it didn't work out that time, but Jim has a heart for Haiti, and I think I'm going to get you down there sooner or later, right?
Absolutely. The next free month, and I know you go at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, and I'm gonna get some time to go. I really want to go with you. I want to see the work that you're doing there, because I mean it's admirable. You know, that there's people that do things, for organizations or donate money, but I mean, what you do is full investment, and I want to see it. I want to watch you. I want to see the impact that you're making firsthand.
Well, you'll be the best football player there, but they can run circles around you in soccer, so be careful.
I'll probably get accused of recruiting.
Yeah. Well, there are some pretty fast kids there. You may come home with a couple of wide receivers. I don't know. Hey, we want to thank you, Jim. I know you're extremely busy. This is a tough night for you. At least half the house is pulling for you to win next week. And everybody appreciates your being here. So thank you very much, Jim Harbaugh.
Thanks, Mitch. Thanks for everything you do. You're the best.
Jim Harbaugh, folks.